In this video, we're going to be unboxing the DEWALT 20V Max 15-degree coil roofing nailer kit. I'm going to shoot a few nails with it. I'm going to tell you who I think this tool is best for, and we're going to do a price comparison of purchasing this tool versus purchasing a standard roofing nailer setup versus renting a standard roofing nailer setup. Stay tuned, it's all coming up next. What's going on, folks? Kendall here with Renos for Pros and Joes, helping you simplify the renovation and remodeling process. On this channel, we do hands-on product tool and gear reviews, as well as renovation tip and strategy videos. So if you're interested in renovation, remodeling, repair, real estate, or home improvement, then subscribe because this channel is for you. So in today's video, I'm going to be unboxing the new DEWALT 20V Max model DCN45RND1, which is a 15-degree coil roofing nailer. This is the kit that comes with the bag, the tool, the battery, and the charger. And so right now this tool is somewhat difficult to get online, but I'm sure as the weeks and days go on, it'll become easier to procure. So I'm going to unbox it, I'm going to shoot a few nails with it, and then I'm going to talk about who I think this tool is best for, as well as doing a comparison on price. So let's go ahead and start opening the box up here and see what we've got inside. As we do this particular tool, it just comes completely self-contained inside of the storage bag, so no papers in there like that. And so now let's go ahead and open this thing up and see what it looks like. All right, so we're looking inside the bag here. We've got our paperwork here. We've got our packaging cardboard here to keep things from getting damaged in shipping. And then we've got, of course, the tool here. Set that down right there. We've got our charger. We've got our battery. And we've got the belt clip. This belt clip is going to be invaluable on a tool like this because you're not going to have your hose to save you. And then we look in here, we've got our packing silica, and then we've got just a thin piece of cardboard in the bottom. So that completes everything that's inside this thing. So let's go ahead and try to get everything plugged up and see how this thing works. I'll go ahead and grab some nails, and then we'll go ahead and try to shoot this thing as I talk to you. So let's jump into it. All right, so we've got the tool here. Let's go ahead and load some nails in it. So let's go ahead and open it up. Drop our nails in here. Let's see if does this adjust. I guess it does move up and down. You can pull this out and raise it up and down in there. If you can see that, there's 3 slots here to adjust for the different heights of nails here. So you've got a range of nails that will fit in here. These are 1¼ inch nails, if I'm not mistaken. And so it probably would be helpful if we raise this thing up just slightly. So let's at least move it up to the middle slot here, like that. And then we'll stick these back in here and then see if that fits a little bit better. I think it does. And so we've got that there, and we've got everything locked in. That's it. So we're ready to go. We should need to pop our battery in, put our safety goggles on, and we'll move on. So there we go. Double check that. Then we've got our safety switch here, and then we've got our dial here on top that has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's got 6 different settings for trying to adjust the height of which you're going to drive your nails in. So if you're trying to have a little bit of the nail hanging out, you can adjust it for that. If you want it to be flush, you can do that. If you want the nails to drop slightly below the surface of the material that you're shooting into, you can adjust it for that. I didn't mention it earlier, but the tool comes with a 20V Max DEWALT 2 amp hour battery. Obviously, you can buy a battery that is going to be stronger than this, that is going to give you more runtime. Now, this tool is spec'd out to be able to install 1 square of shingles, which is roughly 10 feet by 10 feet, which is 100 square feet, in case you didn't know. If you get a battery that is stronger, you can probably install more than that. And then this coil setup or housing here for your nails, I believe it's supposed to hold 120 nail coil, which is what this is, if I'm not mistaken. So that means it's ramping up. Now, just like with most roofing nailers or standard setups, this nail gun is not going to shoot unless the nose of it is depressed against whatever the surface is that you're going to be shooting against. So as you see it here, it ramping up, it's getting prepared to pressurize and shoot that nail, but it's not going to do it if this is not pressed onto the surface of what you're going to be shooting. Now, I do want to point out before we move on to the next thing is that this roofing nailer has a pretty good setup on the bottom as far as the base is concerned. It's got like some feet here on both sides, which means that it kind of does a much better job of staying in place. You know, a standard roofing nailer, you got to be a little bit more careful, and typically it's going to be easier to store them on their side like this to keep it from sliding all over the place or trying to sit it on top of a cushion or something like that if you're not using it, to keep it from sliding off the roof. Obviously, when you're working with a standard roofing nailer setup, you do have the hose that is going to give you a second option of saving the tool, as well as kind of controlling it and offsetting the weight of the tool when you lay it down. You don't have that on a setup like this because it's just the tool by itself. And so when you set it down, you need to make 100% sure that it's not going to get away from you, because as good of a tool as this may or may not be, we don't know yet because it just came out, but as good of a tool as this may be, I don't think it's going to survive too many drops off of a roof onto a concrete or asphalt driveway, okay? And so you want to make sure that when you put it down, it stays put. And so this type of setup on the bottom is going to help you achieve that. Obviously, you're going to make sure that you probably, on a standard procedure, are going to hook this thing on your belt to make sure that you don't lose it from falling off the roof. So just my 2 cents on that. Let's go ahead and shoot off a few nails with this thing. This is a piece of OSB, which is typically what's used in my region as underlayment on your roofing. So this would be an excellent material to try out this nailer on. So let's go ahead and shoot off a few nails. Don't know if you guys are able to see that very well. Let's see if we can zoom in here just a little bit further. Okay. So as you can see here, we've shot off a series of nails here, series of nails here with no issues. It didn't jam. Now it seems like it's we may have a jam here. Let's see what's going on with it. Still cycling down. Still cycling down, still cycling down, still cycling down. Okay. Hopefully you guys are enjoying this video. I did want to pop in. I forgot to mention earlier on, but I am going to be doing several demos with this tool in the upcoming weeks. I've got several roofing projects that are going to be perfectly suited for this tool. And so go ahead and subscribe and make sure that you turn on your bell notifications so that you can be notified when those videos drop. Get back to the video. So as we're looking in here, let's see if this thing it's bound up in here. So it's the coil. It's kind of jammed up. I mean, this is something that can potentially happen to you on a standard nailer setup too. Not a huge deal. Let's jump back and try to see if it worked that out. Oh yeah, no problem. So, and that may have actually come from user error, guys. So let's jump back up and I'm going to talk to you guys a little bit further about this tool because we've got a lot more to discuss about it. Let's talk about this tool and who I think this tool is good for, because I've got a list of things. What did I do? Okay, so this thing will cycle up just with you even touching the nose down. That's interesting. So I think probably putting it on safety prevents that from happening. So that's something that's important to note. So even when you have this thing pushed down like this, it's not going to cycle up. If you don't have the guard on and push the nose down on it, it's going to cycle up. Okay, so that's important to note if you've got it up on the roof, as well as if you've got it in storage, because If you've got this thing in the back of your truck or something like that, or in storage, and the nose of it gets pressed down, it's going to run the battery down if you've got the battery on the tool. Let me quickly just give you a side-by-side comparison of what this setup looks like compared to what you're going to need for a standard setup, just so that we're on the same page with regards to like how this goes. Okay, so this is our heads up comparison. So we've got this tool here that is self-contained with the tool and the battery, which has to be recharged, and we've got the charger for that. And this is the standard roofing setup. Now, this is not a full-size compressor, but this is a compressor that you'd be using for repairs and smaller jobs, ideally. So with this tool, you're going to have the compressor. Locking my nail gun over there. So you're going to have the compressor here. This is a smaller compressor, and even with this being a smaller compressor, this compressor weighs 80 pounds by itself. So pick it up like that, it's 80 pounds. In addition to the compressor has a cord on it, but more than likely, if you're working on a job site, that cord is not going to be long enough to reach to where you're trying to go. So you're going to need a drop cord. It's going to be long enough to reach. So you're going to need a drop cord. You're also going to need a hose to connect the gun up to. So you got your hose. Then you're going to need the gun. Here's the gun here. So you're going to need this full setup to be able to do what you can do with this tool with regards to a small repair, at least. Now, if you're going to be doing a full roofing job, then this is not going to be the tool that you're going to want to use, because you're going to have to replace batteries on this constantly, regardless of which battery you use. In addition to that, this tool is going to shoot nails off at a more rapid pace than this one will. So just something to keep in mind. But as technology progresses, who's to say that some years down the line that this tool may not be able to replace one of these setups. So you can see where you'd save a ton of time going from job site to do repairs and things like that, because on a standard practice, you'd have to hop out of your vehicle. You're going to have to go find the outlet, which may be outside if you're lucky. If not, you're going to have to run a drop cord from inside to the outside. Then you're going to have to lug this around. And most roofers are not going to have one this size. They're going to have one of the huge ones that have wheels on them. So you get to lug that around, set that up, crank it up. It's pretty noisy. You're going to also have to have your hose hooked up and your gun, and you're going to have to pull your hose up to the roof area where you're going to be working, versus hopping out of the vehicle, slapping the battery in this, slapping nails in this, and going up the ladder and starting work, right? That's obviously an oversimplified version of what you would do, because you need to go in and do your assessment and tear off the parts that you need to tear off first before you start putting shingles back. But essentially, when it begins time to work, setting this up and actually doing to work is going to you're going to get to work much faster with this on a repair. So with that being said, the first person that I think that would benefit from this is going to be someone that does general repairs. So as I said before, any type of small repairs, you've got blown off shingles, you've got plumbing deals to deal with, you've got ridge vent, you're pulling off turbine vents and going back with the ridge vent. Those are all things that you could potentially use this for. Now, the next person that I think would benefit from this, it may be a surprise to you, but it's electricians, okay? Let's say that your power line gets yanked off of your house when a tree falls or a limb falls on the line. It gets pulled off of the house, or the power company has to come out and disconnect the power because it's a dangerous event on the line. They're going to cut the power. You're going to have to do the repairs on the property first before they can come out and inspect it and then put in the order to re-establish power on that line, okay? And so in that time, you have that weather meter arm. You know what I'm talking about, the big silver arm sticking up on the roof like this. If that gets bent or anything like that, or gets damaged, that thing is sitting in the roof with a boot at the base of it, which is going to be rubber or plastic, and then it's going to have shingles all the way around it, just like a plumbing boot does, okay? And so the electrician is going to be the one that has to do the electrical work to get everything set back up. Majority of times you're going to have to pull a permit on that, so you're not going to get around using an electrician for this. This is why I'm saying electrician for this. So once you go up there and get everything set up with the service conduit and the meter head, then you're going to have to do a repair around the base of that roof there. Well, the majority of the time, the electrician doesn't get into that. However, if you are an electrician and you want to make an extra stream of income or extra earnings while you're out there on the job, this can make it much easier if you're willing to learn how to do some basic roofing, because generally speaking, if you're just repairing the area right there around the weather meter base, then we're talking about, you know, 6 or 7 shingles, less shingles than is in a bundle. So one bundle of shingles will be able to let you do that repair in its entirety. That's an easy and quick way to get that repair done, and I'm sure that the property owner is going to love you for that. So I guess also if you're going to be doing insurance work, that's another way to pick up some additional funds on that. So electricians, similarly to electricians, you're going to have HVAC people, because HVAC people frequently have to vent out furnaces and things like that from attics, and they typically go through the roof. So they got to cut a hole in the roof to be able to do that. Now, depending on the type of vent that you're putting in the roof, it still may be easier to use hand drive nails, but in the event that you're going to be doing this day in and day out and you're running back and forth, this tool may be something to look into, because it can save you some time, right? You're not breaking off nails or trying to keep up with nails. That's one of the things about dealing with hand drive nails. You're either going to have to break them off of a coil, or you're going to have to buy them loose, and then you're going to have to be responsible for trying to keep up with them and keeping them from spilling all over the place. So this is actually a really good way to keep your hand drive nails consolidated by having them on a coil, on a tool that will let you dispense them in a very quick way, which basically makes it equivalent to the convenience of hand drive nails, but it's faster. The next contractor or person who I think would benefit from using this type of tool is going to be plumbers. Now, plumbers are going to get into this on a regular basis because they're always going to be installing plumbing boots. This is going to often come up on renovations, all the time on renovations. It's going to be installing a new plumbing boot, particularly if you're going to be remodeling a bathroom, or you're going to be adding a bathroom, or moving a bathroom, or pulling out old cast iron pipe and replacing it with PVC. Any of these type of tasks that occur, you're going to get into dealing with the roof frequently, okay? Not every time, but frequently going to get into having to deal with that vertical vent that goes up through the roof. Well, guess what? They can do the repair now if they know how to do some basic roofing, because you've got a tool like this, and it's not going to require them to carry this huge setup around in order to be able to achieve that. Now, the next person that I think that can benefit from using a tool like this, believe it or not, is also roofing contractors. And let me explain why. Now, frequently roofing contractors are going to be on larger jobs, and they're going to typically work in crews. So you're going to have a group of roofers that are going to be in a crew of maybe 3 or 4 or more guys who are going to be working on the roof, guys and gals. So when you're out there on the job, one of the easiest ways for roofers to get additional business is just their presence in a community, right? So when you see the roofers out there doing the roofing work, typically you can be 15 or 20 or 30 houses away, and you're going to hear that distinct sound of this compressor and this nail gun firing off. Pap, 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 pap. You can hear it from very far away, okay? And so when people are riding by and they're going to see the roof and everything peel down to its base level, it's going to jog people's memory to realize, wait a minute, I've got a roof repair, I've got something I need to have done, a knick-knack item, etc., etc., etc. Well, if they are going to be coming to contact you on your crew while you're out there doing the work, they may want you to stop and take a look at their job, but it may not be convenient for you to do that at that exact moment. But let's just say hypothetically that you're able to go over there and take a look at their job during lunchtime. So you run down the street, take a look at their job. They've got 2 roofing boots that need to be replaced that are no good, okay? And let's just say that Joe homeowner is very diligent with his planning, and even though his roof is 9 years old, he has made sure that he has stored 3 or 4 bundles of shingles from the time that the roof was replaced. They're in pristine condition, and they're still in the packaging inside of his garage, which is temperature controlled. So now, he's got all this stuff ready to go. All you need to do is get up there and do the repair. Well, guess what? You may have some time during your lunchtime, depending on whether or not you are running the job or not. But you may also be able to go over there and knock that out at the end of the day once the job breaks down, whether you guys finish or it ends up being a more than one day job. Either way, you can carve out some time to run over there and do that little work. And the biggest plus about having a tool like this is you don't have to break down your setup that's over there on your big job to be able to go over there and knock out the small job, okay? So you can go ahead and get 2 streams of income, more bang for your buck while you're over there in the neighborhood. And so if you can get out there and get this knocked out with just this tool, you're not going to disrupt your workflow over there on the job. So that's another excellent way that this tool can be used. It will never replace this setup, at least not right now, but you can definitely diversify the way that you plan and attack jobs, okay? because typically someone who's going to be in that position may turn down a smaller job because they simply don't have time, and logistically it's going to be too difficult for them to try to lug these tools over there. They may just feel like, you know, hey, I don't want to get into that right now, and so this makes it pretty easy for you to do. Finally, which many of you probably are here for, is this tool good for homeowners? I'm going to say yes. And under the circumstances that, number one, we would have to assume that as a homeowner, you're going to take the time to learn how to do some basic roofing. You're going to learn how to put the felt down. You're going to learn how to peel the old shingles off. You're going to learn how to attach the felt to the roof. You're going to learn how to properly mark your lines off and attach your shingles. You're going to know how many nails need to go in there, where the placement of the nails need to be, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, when you need to have your roofing caulk, when you don't. So assuming that you're going to get up to speed on all that, and you're going to be doing a project at your property, then I would say, yeah, that this makes sense. And let me tell you why. Because at first glance, you may say, hey, this is a $400 roofing nail tool that is basically not versatile. It is a one-dimensional tool that's only good for roofing. If I go over here and I buy this setup, I have the compressor, which allows me to do whatever I want to do with it outside of using just the roofing nail gun. And I've got my hose here, which also allows me to use it wherever I want to. And I've got my drop cord, which allows me to do all those things as well. But let's do a quick price comparison, and then I'll explain further why this makes sense for a homeowner. Okay, so from a pricing standpoint, let's compare these two setups. So we already know that this tool right here is $400, right? So let's go ahead and compare this setup to this one. 400 bucks here. So let's compare this setup. So we've got our nail gun here. This nail gun is $290. For this gun here, this exact model is 290 bucks, okay? Next thing we're gonna say is gonna be our hose. Our hose is start around 30 bucks. Okay, 290, 30. Next, we've got our compressor. My penmanship is terrible, so don't beat me up too bad for this. A small compressor like this, 340 bucks. Then we've got our fittings that go on the compressor. Like here, you got a fitting here and a fitting on the other end. Combined price of those two items, $5 there. And then we will say our extension cord, we'll say that we're going to get one that is above the super basic one. Let's say we're going to get a above base level 100-foot drop cord. We're going to say that's going to be 40 bucks. Okay. So now this setup right here, is $705 compared to our $400 here. Okay. So while you do have more versatility with the compressor, you do have a big savings here just in overall cost if you're mainly planning to use it to do roofing repairs. So that's 300 bucks difference right there. In addition to there's just a price difference, you have the fact that this compressor by itself weighs 80 pounds. So there's going to be plenty of folks who may be able to get up on a roof. They cannot lug an 80-pound compressor around from wherever, from out of their basement, from off of the back of their truck, from wherever they're going to get one. That's going to be too much weight for them to move around. That's something else to think about. So we got that price there. So here we're at $705, right? Now let's flip it and also look at the price. And we're going to write down here. We're going to say this is the price to buy. Okay. Now let's move over here and we're going to do a comparison. Hopefully I don't wipe this off when I'm trying to do this, but we're going to do this side. We're going to do this side, the price to compare it to rent a setup like this. Okay. And so in my region, the compressor, and I'm going to abbreviate here for the sake of time, the compressor runs $36 a day. And then the deposit on the compressor is $50. And then we have the nailer. Ooh, my handwriting is getting worse. The nailer is $30. The deposit on that is $50 as well. And then you still may have to purchase your drop cord. So we're still going to have the drop cord for $40. Okay, so we've got 36, 30, 40. Our total here is 106. So it's $106 total right here. Okay, so we've got 106 bucks to rent this thing for a day. Now, the difference between these two is that you don't have insurance on this. So let's say that you want to put insurance on all these tools, the compressor and the nailer. Let's say the insurance is going to run you, let's say it's going to be, I don't know, let's say it's going to be 12 bucks per tool, right? So let's just say that that's going to bump us up to 130. Okay, so we'll just say 130 over here. But that's not actually the point that I wanted to show you. So this renting the tool is going to make a lot of sense if you're going to be doing a quick job that you know 100% sure you're going to be able to get done in a day. Now, the difference between renting the tool and buying the tool is really going to boil down to how efficiently you're able to work. Because when you rent tools, anybody that has rented tools before or is in the practice of renting tools, I'm a contractor and I rent tools all the time. One of the biggest differentiating factors on renting the tool is going to be your ability to rent it at the exact right time, because you're trying to make sure that, number one, that you're able to go into the rental facility and rent it when the tool is there to be rented, meaning that it's available. At the same time, you're trying to rent it at the time period close to where you're going to be able to use it so that you can bring it back quickly and not incur additional fees. You see, because if we are at $106 here for this setup here, we're going to end up going up in price. That's going to end up costing us $56 a day. So it's $56 a day additional beyond day one. So 106 for day one. The deposits are going to be good for the full rental, but then we're going to be at $56 per day. Okay, so after day one, we're at 106. Or we're going to say we're at 130 with our insurance on there. Let me clean that up. So we're going to be 130 with insurance, and the job goes over to 2 days. Now we're at 186, right? So we jump from 106. I'm going to clean that up too. So we're at 106 here for day one. We've jumped to 186 for 2 days, okay? Over here, we're at 705 to buy the full standard setup. This is our rental of the standard setup. And remember that we are at 400 for our standard setup, right? For our new setup. Now, why are these things being compared? Let me explain why. This is going to be your cost for 2 days, right? And this is if you're able to get off of the job quickly. 2 days max, okay? And you're not going to have an issue trying to rent the tool, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And this is also assuming that the tools that you rent are in good working order and you don't have to take anything back or do anything like that because you have a malfunction on the job, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, okay? So that's the assumption that we're making there. You're 186, okay? Now, over here at the 705, this is clearly more expensive, but you own the tools. Same thing with 400, you own the tools. Now, the thing that I'm going to show you that's going to completely change up the way that we look at these numbers is, if you're a homeowner and you're going to be using this tool for specific repair at your property, and you're probably never going to use it again, let's say that you've got a situation where you want to replace all of your plumbing boots on your roof, you want to pull out your turbines on your roof and go back with ridge vent, okay? So you do your work. We're going to assume that's going to be the scenario for using both of these purchase setup scenarios. You're going to do all your repairs. You're going to wait for it to rain. You're going to let it flood out. It's going to flood. You're going to check everything out. No leaks, okay? So you're going to let it flood 2 or 3 more times and check for leaks. no leaks. Okay, so you feel confident that your work is good, everything is dried in, everything is a-okay. Okay, so you've got all that thing squared away. Now you have no use for this equipment, right? So what you can do is turn around and sell it to someone else who needs it. And so this is where your savings and your comparison changes. And so if we've got this tool and we're assuming that we paid $400 for it, and we're going to use it for a week or more, or let's just say we use it over the course of 2 weeks. Okay, what do you think this tool is worth on resale after 2 weeks of use? Okay, new tool, hard to get right this very second, but let's just say that you pay $400. What do you think the tool is worth after you've used it for 2 weeks? Assuming that you have not dropped it off the roof and everything like that, we'll just say that, let's just pretend that the tool is only worth half of what you paid for it. It's only worth $200, okay? And I think we can all agree that that is more than conservative enough, because if you can only get $200 for this tool after using it for 2 weeks, that's rough. You should be able to do better than this. But we're just gonna say, for argument's sake, $200, okay? On this setup, you've got, what can you sell? You can sell the nail gun, you can sell the compressor, and that's pretty much it. The hose, you paid $30 for it. You're gonna be hard pressed to try to find somebody who's gonna pay you anywhere near that on that used hose. The fittings kind of really don't have much of a value outside of being on the hose. These two items are gonna have to go together. And then your cord, you might as well keep that because you may need it for something else, and it's gonna be difficult to try to get any real money for the drop cord. So the items that you have on here from your full $705 setup that are gonna be worth money are gonna be the nail gun and the compressor, okay? So the nail gun and the compressor now are gonna be the items that you can potentially sell and try to make some money. So when we do our quick math here, we are at 340 plus 290. Okay, so we got 630 here, okay? We've got 630. So if we make the same assumptions that we made here, then let's just say that this equipment is only worth half of what you paid for it. Now on this setup, half may be a good number. So now you're only going to be able to get $315 on this sale, which is going to leave you at $315, okay? So that means that you're going to subtract $315 from your $705. So that means that this job actually cost you $705 minus $315. And then that's going to give us $390. So the job cost you $390 in tools, if I'm not mistaken. I believe that's correct. Somebody check my math. If this is wrong, I'll correct it during editing. So this job cost you $390 to do. You lost $390 on this transaction, okay? To be able to do this, to buy this equipment and then sell it when you're done. Versus on this one, you paid $400 and then you sold it for $200, right? So it only cost you $200. So you're $200 here, and then you're $186 here to rent the tool for the course of 2-day period, okay? So that means that when we're comparing all these things together, and I know I've got a lot of numbers on here, but essentially these two costs are virtually the same. The cost for you to rent the tool for 2 days is $186. The cost for you to buy the tool, use it for as long as you want within a reasonable time period, and then resell it, your cost is still $200. Once you've resold it, you will recoup $200, so you still have the $200 in it plus tax, obviously, right? You have tax on this as well. So you're talking about a $14 difference here, right? Now, as I said, on this tool, I believe this is a very conservative number. So let's just pretend that you can actually get $300 for this, okay? Now your price to do the job has dropped down to $100. So if your price drops down to $100, now you're at the rate of what you were gonna pay to rent this tool for 1 day before you put insurance on it. So now you're at $130 here for your 1 day with insurance versus $100 here, okay? And you can see that you can play with these numbers in a lot of different ways, but you can see that when you look at a tool like this from this standpoint of purchasing and then reselling it, then this tool makes a whole lot more sense, because if you're not going to be a roofing contractor, you probably don't need to keep it. And the quicker that you're able to use it and go ahead and get rid of it, the easier it's going to be for you to recoup your money and move on to the next thing, buy another tool, etc., etc., etc. And so if you're going to be doing your own repair, you may have a neighbor in your neighborhood who may say, hey, man, I saw you over there working. What type of tool is that? You can educate them on it, send them to this video, and then you can turn around and do your deal and let them get that tool, because ultimately they're going to be buying it from you for less than they can go in the store and buy it for, if they can actually even get it. So hopefully you guys found this video informative. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. As I said again, I'm sorry for my poor penmanship, but I'll see you guys on the next one. Oh, and I almost forgot to mention, there's going to be some videos coming up soon where I am going to be using this tool. So I've got a few roofing projects that are going to be perfectly suited for this type of tool. I'm going to be using this tool out there, and I'm going to go ahead and film that, and we'll be back to show you exactly how this tool performs in real application. So see you guys on the next one.